Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to talk how to get Warhammer cheaper. Now, this could also apply to plenty of other tabletop miniature games. But it is normally Warhammer I see talked about in this way, as Warhammer generally does pay a premium for simply being a Games Workshop product. For being, the industry leader, they generally do cost more than some, not all, other games out there. However, obviously Warhammer is the most accessible tabletop miniatures game, as it is the most readily available. It's the only one with its own actual stores worldwide. When most people talk tabletop wargaming, they talk Warhammer, and there is a reason because of that. You will be able to find opponents for Warhammer easier than any other miniatures game you do play. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 ways to get into Warhammer cheaper, 5 ways you can find some deals for yourself or get into the game cheaper with less of an initial outlay. Though, we all build up that pile of plastic eventually. Don't do that. Don't make my mistake. And we're going to talk about some other things as well. And we'll talk about that other thing first. And so first of all, I want to talk about a way that I think some people do talk about how 3D printing is cheaper than getting Warhammer. And I will say, maybe over the course of time, it might be. However, it is certainly not a be-all and end-all process. I know numerous people. I have dabbled in it myself as well. 3D printing up front is by far not cheaper than buying Warhammer. Your average 3D printer does cost about a similar price to maybe some GW products, but the better 3D printers definitely do cost a lot more than your average GW product, which will put out about similar quality. Now, obviously 3D printing does over time become a cheaper thing, but it is something certainly you have to learn. There will be mistakes, there will be trials and tests and errors, and it should be considered a hobby into itself, entirely separate of miniature wargaming. That's not to be said. If you've got the time, you've got the patience, and you've got the initial money to outlay into 3D printing, it is certainly something worthwhile looking into. It's just worth noting that it is not the be-all and end-all cheaper solution. I think if you're getting into it and you're looking to only spend a little bit a month and wanting to get into it now, then there are other ways you can get cheaper models. 3D printing, for me, is something a more experienced hobbyist or someone who's got a longer term plan or is willing to wait, a year to maybe get their first 3D printed army off the table. It is a skill into itself. There are plenty of channels that go out there and look at 3D printing, and I recommend going and having a check out of them as they look into how to get set up, and all that information is certainly valuable to any new person getting into 3D printing. Number 1 though, to find some places to get your Warhammer or indeed your tabletop miniature games cheaper is to check out discount game stores or friendly local game stores, FLGS, as many places will call them. These are stores that are not Games Workshop stores that sell at the high or the wholesale price, the average price you will see. Many of these stores, like the store I'm showing here, which is my local Dragon's Lair Salisbury here in Adelaide, South Australia, they do 10% off all GW stock. There are certainly other places I can get 20 or 25% off in Australia, though they're not local to me, and I do like to support my local store. But there's plenty of these things around the internet for you to check out and to get some good discounts for yourself to get your Warhammer cheaper. And generally you can find something local that will do, online shipping, support a local store, support local businesses, small businesses. And like this store, they give you places to play as well. You can see Warhammer tables set up there, plenty of terrain in the back corner, and also tables for Magic and other card games as well. Number 2, magazine subscriptions. Now, Games Workshop have started doing these recently, which is pretty cool. At the moment, we're currently going through the Imperium magazine here in Australia for Warhammer 40k, and you get a variety of different miniatures, generally for 2 or more armies over the course of a little while. Now, the Imperium magazine pits Space Marines against Necrons. Normally, these magazines are for the 2 armies currently in the starter set, and you get a variety of miniatures, paints, and other tools over the course of the time and putting together these miniatures, pretty much giving you everything you need to start the hobby. These generally will come at a cheaper cost at the start of the subscription, you know, to entice you in, and then generally in Australia they're about $20 a week. But this can be a nice, cheap way to get into the hobby. Slowly growing, you can do the magazine subscription with a friend, where you split it, you'll get lore booklets, you'll get some scenarios showing you how to play through the game, you get miniatures for both sides, which is really cool, I think, giving you an overall sort of way to play with both sides of the game. Number 3, Facebook buy, swap, sell groups or second-hand minis, wherever they may come from, whether that is from places like eBay or Gumtree, or indeed you're trading or buying off friends. Secondhand minis are a great place to get some nice cheap minis. This is initially great for getting into the hobby. If you're wanting to get an army together on the cheap, secondhand armies can be really great. Generally, they won't be top tier armies, or they'll be armies that people are done with or sort of moving on from, so you're going to find things that are maybe out the meta. So this isn't necessarily a great way to get into more competitive styles of gaming, because normally you won't find the competitive armies in this, but this can really cheapen the cost down to, you know, around the 50 or 60% mark of the average cost of these minis. Now, what's cool about this is sometimes you can get entirely painted armies, and that way you can get it on the tabletop straight away, playing games with a fully painted army. Other times, you'll find people have bought boxes, not built stuff, or the rules have changed for particular units, and they're deciding to move on from things, or they're just needing a bit of quick cash. So, whatever the reason, Facebook buy, swap, sell, secondhand minis are always a great place to go and cheapen up your spending. Number 4, box splits. Now, from time to time, Games Workshop will release dual box kits like this, and they also have many mainline products like the Vanguard box sets, the Combat Patrol Star Collecting boxes, and indeed the starter sets for the different games they have that come in these giant boxes. And you can generally find on many places like the Facebook buy, swap, sell groups, Gumtree, and eBay, people who are splitting these box sets up and selling the parts individually. Generally, they will be doing that for a profit for themselves. However, it will save you a little bit of money if you're only wanting particular parts of said box set. So, you know, this box set, they may make a little bit of money on it, and that's generally how they do it. But you will save it a little bit. So, you know, you might have an $84 model in there, and they may charge $60 for that brand new kit, which will save you a bit of money, but, you know, it makes them money. So it is worth noting, like, these guys are, I guess, technically scalpers, but they are doing a good service for the hobby. I really enjoy buying off people. I've got a couple that I know that are good quality off my local Australian buy, swap, sell groups on Facebook that really are great at splitting these boxes up and just giving me the pieces I want out of it if I'm not wanting to buy a whole box set. And so, number 5, alternative miniatures. Now, there are plenty of other game companies that will sell miniatures at a cheaper cost than Games Workshop. It is worth noting that I do believe that Games Workshop do have the best miniatures in the industry, and so you might find that the cheaper cost does come with a lesser quality miniature, though a lot of other companies that maybe have this personal opinion, or these many people's opinions, is having lesser miniatures like Mantic and like others have generally improved dramatically over the past few years as they've learnt new techniques to make their miniatures better. And I find Mantic now has pretty comparable to GW quality miniatures in their armies, which is awesome. These miniatures generally are cheaper and they can be used as stand-ins. This is also a good place where 3D printing comes in. You can definitely find many different places that sell 3D printed miniatures. Many of these people will have either patrons where they send you miniatures, or they'll have sites on things like Etsy and stuff like that where they'll sell miniatures 3D printed to you, having a license to sell those miniatures from a 3D printer that sculpts them and stuff like that. But this is another great way to cheapen up your Warhammer experience and getting some more minis and more bang for your buck. I hope this video has been helpful for anyone new getting into the hobby. There are ways definitely to make this hobby cheaper and more accessible for more people, and I am always a fan of aiming to get that done. And so that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, why not come join our Discord server as well, which you can find linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is the best way to help support the channel via Patreon or YouTube members. If you'd like to help support either, it would be greatly appreciated as it goes towards making the channel better and better at doing what we continue to do here. We'd like to give a special shout out to all our Patreons and YouTube members, so a thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and GRP390. And also a shout out to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop, Terrain, and John Castle. Lastly, a special shout out to all the people who help support the channel via sponsorship or via collaborations, and a special thanks as well to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, everyone, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.